still telling me preparing. Okay.
Okay, I
We
got
are
it.
live.
Got it. All right, it being 12:32, I call the February 15th, 2022 meeting of the Akron Tree Commission to order. First order of business is approving the January 11th, 2022 minutes. Do I hear a motion? Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Next item of business is a hearing on the appeal of tree plantings from the Coburn Street homeowners. Am I assuming that, I don't have a name, Sandra Ridgway and her companion, or the other screen, are two of the residents?
Yes, Carl Williams,
Carl
Sandra's
Williams?
husband. Mhm.
Okay. And Sandra Ridgway.
Yes, it's Ridgway Williams.
Okay. We have received your letter and signed petition. I guess what we would like to do excuse me, is to hear your, pardon? Okay. Is to hear your thoughts on this so we can consider.
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is John York. Before they get started, if I could swear the witnesses in.
Oh, okay.
And also, I believe, Mr. Malice, you're going to testify on this one as well? Okay, so if all of you who will be testifying could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
John. Okay.
Well,
Whoever would like to speak.
I'll go first. The issue that we have with the trees is that we just, over the last 3 to 5 years, I had to go down to council to request the original trees from us building these properties here 20 years ago to have the trees that we had initially installed removed. And that's costing the taxpayers money. So my question is, why are we putting more trees in that's going to in turn cost the taxpayers more money? And we have to basically take care of them. Right now, we don't have any trees on our street. So there's no problems with our sewer systems or anything like that because there's no leaves in our front yards. So, we don't want to cost the taxpayers any more money by putting in trees that eventually are going to have to be taken out.
Okay.
Also, if I'm allowed to speak, we have elderly residents on our street. Several of the families, they have their parents living with them. And from the first time we had the trees in, when we first built there, the roots buckled the sidewalks. And it took us forever to get the sidewalks repaired because it's a tripping hazard for these elderly people walking up and down the street. We also have the community health center down the street. There's pregnant women down there. They're always coming up and down the street, when there's no snow, of course, walking with their children and strollers. Some of them are pregnant. When these trees start buckling the sidewalks again, there's that tripping hazard when they don't need to be there. The roots are just wreaking havoc. When they were there, they're wreaking havoc on the sidewalks. They're too close to our drainage systems. Of course, buckling the sidewalks is more of a headache than anything. We all have trees in our backyards. That's fine. They're not interfering with anything.
Okay. Thank you. Carl, and Sandra. John?
So on Coburn, the previous varieties that were there were autumn purple ash. The emerald ash borer came through in about 2009, 2010. And it took about a 5-year period for it to pretty much spread throughout the city. But Coburn, the entire street has succumbed to the emerald ash borer. All of those trees died because of an insect that was imported into this country and has spread like wildfire. We removed everything and we were just replacing what has been removed on Coburn. The variety that was selected was hedge maple. It gets about 35 feet tall. Consideration was taken into the size of the street lawn, any overhead utilities. We do have guidelines as to the proximity to downspouts, fire hydrants, drive aprons, street lights. So we had 21 proposed for this street. And when this appeal came in, we halted all planting operations.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
Did the previous trees, John, or the homeowners did cause the sidewalks to buckle because of the root systems, I'm assuming?
Yes, our sidewalk was buckled. It was a really bad buckle from the trees.
Were your sidewalks repaired after the trees were taken down?
It took some time, but yes, our sidewalk was. There's still other parts of the Coburn Street, not in front of our house, but some of our neighbors, they still have buckled sidewalks from the trees.
Well, one of the main reasons why our trees were removed is I took time out of my day and my week to go to council and to ask that those trees be removed and the sidewalks be repaired, understanding how much it was going to cost each taxpayer. That's my main concern. We can't keep spending money from the taxpayers for things that we can avoid. I mean, there's tons of streets in Akron that need repaired because of trees, which it really doesn't make any sense, in my opinion, to put more trees in and cost taxpayers money. That's my issue with the whole tree process.
But I'm thinking these were taken down because they were diseased, right? Otherwise, they'd still be up, I'm assuming.
Yes, I mean, they were removed because of being infested with emerald ash borer. That's ultimately the final decision. Now, you may have, Mr. and Mrs. Williams may have signed up on the sidewalk replacement program. I will pull that information, but that's where those would have been, like your individual tree would have been removed under that program. And yes, I know it took a while. There's a 2-year backlog on that program. It's just the demand far outseeds the funding available to do that program. But ultimately, every tree on that street was removed, every ash, because of the emerald ash borer.
Well, all the trees haven't been removed. Actually, there's still some trees on the opposite side of the street where it's businesses over across the street from us. There's trees along there, but we have a 1-block street. I think 21 trees is more than overkill. Why do we need so many trees? And the bulk of those trees that were planned to be replanted were between the first house and the 9th house, because there's only 9 houses on the street. 14 of those trees were going to be planted in front of our houses. The rest were going to be spread out across the street, down by Reedinger, the old Reedinger school. There were like 2 or 3 there, and then like maybe one down by the community health center. That's too much. We don't need all those trees. We don't.
Guys, I think one of the main things that we need to reconsider about the trees is that as homeowners, we bear the brunt of the maintenance on our street. We do have zone commercial on the opposite side of the street. Those people lock their doors at 5 o'clock in the evening and they go home. They have people that come out and maintain their property maybe twice a week in the summertime, but all of the rest of the time, we are the ones taking care of our properties. And we bear the brunt of whatever happens on their property. I don't know how many times I go over and pick up trash for UPS or the church or the other businesses on our street. So we bear the brunt of the maintenance of our street, and we just don't want to add to it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, this is John York. Could I ask Mr. Malish a few questions for clarification?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, Mr. Malish, you had mentioned that there were 21 proposed trees on the
Yes.
street to be replaced. The objection letter says 24 trees. How many trees are we actually talking about?
Hold on 1 second here. I'm gonna filter this. There are 24.
Okay,
Sorry.
so 24 is the correct number.
Yep.
We've gotten to this point where you're about to plant the trees, it sounds like. So I'm assuming that this has gone to council and council has approved the plan so that we now have an approved plan. Is that correct?
Council approved the project. That's what council approved, is the project for a 3-year period.
The project which included your diagram of many streets, which included Coburn?
For council purposes for funding the project, we put out what the dollar amount was. So just the sheer quantity that we were planting every.
Can I ask council a question, or Mr. Malice, can I ask you a question? Was the expense of these trees shared with the residents? I just had my street repaved. That information was shared with me and the cost to each resident. We had no idea these trees were going to be planted until I was actually walking my dog and I seen the truck pull up.
And the residents are not individually assessed or charged for trees and any way around it. So whether it's planting, a trimming, or a removal, that cost is not individual on any individual property owner.
So just so I understand, if something doesn't cost homeowners anything, they're not made privy of the information that's going to happen on their street.
I mean, this is the right of way. It is publicly owned. So we try to get these letters out, and I just ran out of time with some of these this year, in early spring. We are doing we have a game plan now on how we're going to attack this here in the future. But there's no hiding of any information. That's not it at all. And there is no cost individually for me to plant a tree in front of your house. You would never be assessed for that. To trim the tree in front of your house, you would never be assessed. For removal, same thing. your assessments come with street cleaning for, when, for the, and, you're sweeping, and I don't have that figure as to what the frequency is. But that would include leaf, the leaf pickup.
So what about when people are tripping over these buckled sidewalks from these trees?
And that's why we developed that sidewalk replacement program here in the city.
That's 2 years at least behind.
When you were signed up, yes. Right now, as of last year, we were able to catch up 100%. We're starting a brand new and able to take care of all requests that have come in over the past year.
Excuse me.
Guys, that's just my concern. We're spending money to create more problems when we could be spending money to fix problems. That's my concern. If we're spending money to fix problems, why are we spending money to create new problems? And that's what these trees do. And that was my main concern. My main concern wasn't about, it's about safety, but it's also about wasting taxpayers' monies. And I'm a taxpayer. And I know how much time it took for me to get my trees replaced. And I know how much money it costs me individually. So you multiply that by, I don't know how many other residents that are going to have the same problem that we had, and that money can be spent somewhere else.
Oops.
I have a question. How many trees of the 24 are going to be put on Corbin?
All 24 were scheduled for Corbin,
Oh,
for Coburn, I mean.
yes.
Yeah, but
I mean,
16
we
of
had
those trees.
1,800. We had 1,800 trees that we put in the ground in the spring. So, I'm sorry, in the fall, and that was just 24 of them that went in were scheduled for Coburn.
How many trees were on there before? The ones that got infested?
Give me 1 second. $37.
Okay, thank you.
But
Mr.
some of
Fusco
those
has
trees
raised
are
his
still
hand.
there.
Correct. I mean, there's 37 locations on that street.
Both sides and including the businesses, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Fusco has raised his hand.
Thank you. I have a number of things. First of which is there's a lot of moving parts to this. I would respectfully request, and I won't make this a motion just yet, but that we take time on this because I would like an opportunity to take a deeper dive. I'd like an opportunity for the entire commission to go out and take a look at this. I've been on Coburn, but not recently, to look at real close in terms of what we're dealing with here. I'd like an opportunity to do that. The next question is the new tree, what type of new tree? You say this earlier, Mr. Malish or not, but is this the proposed planting? Is this going to be a tree that will not lift sidewalk or interfere with lines or water lines or what have you? Is there a specific type tree that is being proposed?
Yeah, and that's why it's a hedge maple. It gets 35 feet tall. The autumn purple ash, those were 70 feet. Ultimately, at the end of their lifespan, they would reach 70 feet. I mean, it was the wrong tree for that site. I'm not denying that.
What about the new proposed trees? Though?
Following our guidelines within the master planting plan, it meets all the criteria for that size of street lawn and site.
Okay. Thank you. And just for the residents of Coburn, thank you for coming in. Appreciate that. Thank you for the position. We received that. All the commission members have, and thank you for that. And also attending today. But I just want to let you know that whenever we get the budget, we basically just get an overall budget for the entire city. We don't get every location where they're going to be located at, which kind of goes into the next thing. And if I understood correctly, Mr. Malish had said that we're kind of changing the way we're doing business and making sure that we are in fact to inform residents before we plant. Is that what's happening?
That is correct.
Okay, gotta ensure that happens as well. But yeah, that's basically all I really had, other than, if there's any other discussion, that's great. If there's not, like I said, I would be happy to make a motion that we take time on this, and we vote on what to do moving forward at our next meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
Okay, Patricia, so all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Williams and Ms. Ridgway, for coming and advocating for yourselves. As you know or not, the ultimate decision on this is up to the service director. It is not our decision. We will make a recommendation, and then Mr. Luddle will make the final determination. Yes, sir.
I just have one more thing to add. Most of our residents are Laotian, and that's why my wife and I, we kind of spearhead things. A lot of our neighbors, they don't understand some of the city processes. So that's why we're here today. We're kind of speaking on their behalf as well.
I understand that. And I do appreciate your willingness to come here and
And
talk.
may I add one more thing? I took a picture of the label of the tree that was supposed to be planted, and it's the Princeton Elm, and they get 65 to 85 feet when I looked it up online.
And that variety was dropped off by mistake. Those were never supposed to have been dropped there.
But they would have been planted.
Well, I had people out immediately, and when we noticed that was something that we switched up, and we found the location, and they ended up having they grabbed the wrong trailer is basically what ended up happening that day. So, I mean, we have inspectors out there constantly checking on the contractor to make sure what goes in is supposed to be the correct variety. And I'm just saying, it's happened before where a wrong variety has gone in. They've had to go back out and remove that and put the correct one in its place. Because again, we mandate that we have the correct variety in that site. We match the tree to the site.
Okay. Thank you very much. We will now deliberate.
All right.
And
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Love to have some discussion among commission members. I know we're going to take time. First of all, do we want to all together visit Coburn Street, or will we just count on ourselves to do that so that we have the information we need the next time we get together? I mean, I know it's really difficult to schedule 5 people at the same time.
And what are we going to look for? Are we looking for specific something when we go?
So I think just to look at the street.
Correct.
Just to look at it.
Yeah. John, are the trees just going in on the residential side, or are some going in on the commercial side?
On the commercial side as well. Do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here is Coburn right here. And I just want to show you the view, the street view of this when the ash trees were here. So this is heading south. And all of these were removed except for there are 3 down here by the church that have not been removed. For whatever reason, they're still hanging on, they're still alive, they don't appear to be infected. And I'm not gonna really remove anything unless I absolutely have to. But this entire street is bare now.
Mhm.
There is not a single tree on the residential side.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give you a view of what it did look like prior to, and these are older pictures as well. I believe these are 2011. So they were roughly 4 or 5 inches larger than what they currently are in this picture. But you can start to see some of this growth here along the side. That was indicative of it being infected. And then when you actually went up to the trunk, you could see all the boreholes. And within 2 years, they were completely gone. They were just standing there dead.
Okay. Thank you, John. So what do folks think? Yeah,
Do you know
Jeff.
how many? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he had.
Okay, thank you. And I'm trying to use the raise hand thing or do this or something. John, can you do us a favor and send us that map of where it's proposed, where these are proposed to be located, as well as, I don't know if you can send us those photos or not via email, but from 2011, I think that would be helpful for us in terms of making a decision.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Patricia.
Do you know do you know exactly how many sidewalks were damaged from the trees?
My guess would be most of them, just knowing that species. I mean, that variety of tree belongs on an 8-foot or larger size street lawn. This is 5.5 feet. I didn't put the variety in, but I mean, that's why we set the guidelines up the way we did. You know, we have to start matching the variety with the site that's given to us. Because if not, we're just going to continue on in this. We could fund the sidewalk replacement program with $1 million annually, and it would never be enough.
Mm-hmm. If the city repairs the damage that its street trees caused, does the city bear that expense or does the homeowner bear that expense?
Well, it's yes and no. So to explain the sidewalk program, the city will bear the cost of the sidewalk damage that was caused by the tree.
Okay.
However, we look at the entire property, and if the drive apron needs repaired, if there are other blocks that need repaired that have nothing to do with the tree, we do it as an all or nothing deal.
Okay.
We if we're doing it all, the homeowner may be assessed for 3 or 4 blocks that were outside the purview of the tree damage.
Okay,
But then we know that that entire parcel, all the sidewalk block in front of that parcel are within compliance.
okay,
But we do also have quite a few where it's only the sidewalk block that, and the tree that affected those sidewalk blocks.
all right. Okay. Other comments? And John, this is all part of the Akron Waterways Renewed
Correct.
program?
Correct.
Okay. I noticed on the street there are no overhead wires.
No,
Or are there that I just didn't see?
they are underground on this. street.
Okay, yeah. Well, let us take time on this and get
And if I
together.
can point out one more thing to the commission here.
Absolutely.
So this neighborhood was specifically selected since when we did our canopy study, we looked at the lowest median household income
Okay,
and the lowest canopy, urban canopy cover. And this
Okay.
neighborhood stretching from Main Street over to Dart, Thornton down to Russell was our high concentration area that was identified and
okay,
to meet those criteria. So it wasn't just Coburn. We planted all of May, Yale, Harvard, Amherst, Princeton, Kenyon, Oberlin, and even Boulevard. We infill planted that entire neighborhood.
okay.
There were, I want to say 324 trees within those boundaries that were planted.
Okay,
Is this the only area that didn't want them? John?
Coburn Street was the only one we received an objection from.
okay. Okay. Other comments before we move on to other business? Okay. For our first public hearing, I think that went very well. I'm glad everybody was civil, including the homeowners, because I know how passions can get riled on these kinds of things. Okay, next item of business, unfinished business. I believe part of it is Arbor Day. John and I had a conversation a week or so ago about how we might approach Arbor Day. And I would say that the first thought was to keep it simple. Rather than try and gin up a whole ceremony involving lots of people, that maybe it would be good for us to focus on 1 or 2 actual plantings. And again, the tree plantings that we would focus on this time would be in the Copley Road East area. And some of the parks, I have my notes here somewhere. One was Stoner Park, right, John? One was Aquay Park, which Aqua, okay, and Kerr, okay. And the thought being that we as a commission, the mayor, and most likely the councilman would gather on Arbor Day to plant a tree in a park. And the principle being that we understand that the tree canopy in low and moderate income neighborhoods is too sparse. We know that trees have quality of life issues. They have, ecological benefits, and lots of other things. So that was our thought. And I guess I would like to get the rest of the commission's thoughts on this. Jeff?
Thank you, Chairwoman Bradenberg. I believe that's exactly what needs to be done. In terms of our mission, which we haven't memorialized. I don't think we have a mission statement. It might be a good idea eventually, but I think if we had one, it would include something like this, that we would want to make sure that every neighborhood has an opportunity to get a tree, every house, every, the benefits and all that. But I do like that idea. I like it a whole bunch. I do, and perhaps it could be folded into the concept and idea that we spoke about before, in reference that, and I understand, like, according to Mr. Malish, we're like 98% of the way there in terms of becoming a tree city. Let's complete that. And then perhaps that day could be an opportunity to announce that, and maybe just ask the mayor and President Somerville, maybe a press conference type situation could occur, that would help us promulgate, I believe, the cities and the tree commission's mission, in that the trees are important to the quality of life, as mentioned. And I believe that would be a great way to kind of kick off everything here. And perhaps what we could just simply do is just, I don't think we need to do anything real formal or anything whatsoever. Maybe just a letter, Chairwoman Vredenberg, from you, perhaps the mayor, and to the president council, and just requesting such a thing. I believe that it'd be met with a warm reception. So
Okay.
that's a reasonable request, and it doesn't even require anything, formal. Just a kind of a informal request.
Okay. Other comments, thoughts? Okay. I will work on that letter, and I will contact President Somerville and who was the other one? Or is it John?
Mayor Horgan's office.
Mayor Horgan.
Hogan, yeah, how could I forget that? To write such a letter and request that designation from council. I'm assuming a proclamation from either council or the mayor, or both. That would be great. To designate Arbor Day. And John, do you think it's realistic for us to get a Tree City designation by Arbor Day?
Not for this year. Because the celebration, or what will be awarded this year was actions from last year.
Okay.
So everything we do this year we'll get the award in 2023.
Okay.
And really the only the key part we're missing is the proclamation and celebration.
Okay. So this is an activity that will cross that T and dot that I, so that next year we're golden, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So then I guess what I will do is send a letter to Ms. Somerville and Mayor Horgan to ask for that designation, and then set up that ceremony I guess part of the quick thing we need to do is decide which park.
I would go ahead and let the mayor's office determine that, and the president. They have the wherewithal, of course, to put things like this together and to, determine times and all that, the rest of it. But
Mhm.
begin the ball rolling, I think. Just like I said, a letter
Yeah.
there would be suitable, and just to get it started.
Okay,
What we like to do,
could you repeat that, Jim?
what we would like to do, just something very general in the letter.
Yeah. Yeah, so then John, would you determine the location?
I would work, I'm gonna work probably with the mayor's office on that
Okay.
determination.
Okay.
And so that May 9th through the 15th is going to be Parks Week, and the two parks that we've designated this year will be Elizabeth Park and Waters Park, and we have major planting going on at both of those
Okay,
locations.
okay,
Yeah, and I can assist Sarah in terms of, that letter, whatever, just we could chat offline on that one.
okay, okay.
John, what
But
was
we
your?
still want to focus something on Arbor Day, correct? John,
Excuse me?
we still want to focus something on Arbor Day, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Which
okay,
is that last Friday in April.
right. Okay, so I will work with Councilman Fusco on a letter and send all of you copies of it beforehand so that everybody gets a chance to think things through and we've got all the brains working. What was the other thing? Gosh, there was one other thing, John, that we talked about, and it's just eluding me. Let me see if. Oh, budget. And I think Councilman Fusco can speak to that.
Yeah, I'm very happy to announce that, to let the commission know that with the work of the administration and council together, we kind of doubled down, if you will, in terms of the tree commission, and we approved the budget yesterday. Akron City Council did 300 million capital budget in that range, but part of that is $25,000 designated to the Akron Tree Commission. So that's available to us to, again, I think, kind of help with regards to our mission in terms of educating the community on the benefits of trees.
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah.
Thank you for your efforts. I know you were not an insignificant player in that. So I guess, and we don't need to do that now, but we need to figure out how we want to spend our budget. I think since we are most affected by the fourth action plan in the master tree planting plan, which is basically education, that perhaps we focus on that and decide, do we want to do flyers? Do we want to do public service announcements? Do we want to prepare brochures or door hangers? John and I talked at one point, and this would probably be the cheapest, is to find a good quote about the quality of trees, what trees mean to us, so that every letter that then goes out from his office regarding trees has this little tiny educational bit. Doesn't cost much, and starts to get the word out. So those are some of my thoughts. Anybody else thoughts?
No, I think that's great. That's certainly a great beginning. John, do we have within the city of Akron's website, and where can we find it if we already have something like that in place with the plan? Just a lot of information, where the trees are planned to go, within the city of Akron's website. Do we have that? That we should all know anyways, I guess, but what do we have available to the public via that? Yeah.
We don't. Not easily accessible. And that is something we're looking at, just to make it accessible for all, because really, we do need a page that just has our information on it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Similar to that, like how recreation has theirs. You go right, you have all their information. What events are coming up, what pavilions are taken or reserved, and what activities are at the community centers. We need something like that. I know if you try to navigate our website, it is not the user friendliest of sites.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you're talking about us having our own web page, something like that.
I would recommend that, and then linking it to, have the link on, whether it's, through service, that would be my recommendation. So that's kind of how recreation is set up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're currently in the process of redoing theirs as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think having us under public service makes sense because, that is where we're located. And we can just, start sending people to the public service page and then, click on that and there should be a link to the tree commission, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then we can start adding information about what we're doing, Arbor Day, Parks Week.
And ultimately, like, these appeals they can just register right through the website.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So it sounds like we're off to a great start, guys. Thank you. We're doing good work already. Anything else for the good of the order?
If I could, I know Councilwoman Sharon Connor
Mhm.
wanted to join us. She had a conflict though, and we have been. I apologize. I don't know if I'm still on or not, but I'm looking at the because we kind of texting. Cannot meeting. Board meeting still going on. We can get you in, say 1:30 or so. I was hoping to get her maybe in at 1:30 or so, but I know she has her ward meeting because there was something that she wanted to kind of like speak to,
Okay.
to the commission. I don't want to speak for her. I learned a long time ago not to try to speak for other people. So
It's a wise thing.
yeah, so I can't even speak for myself half the time. But anyways, let me text her if you don't mind. I asked for the forgiveness. But yeah, I'll ask her if she can zoom in. Real quick here.
Yes, Patricia.
It's about the page. So with that page, can we just have like a mission statement, all the things that we talked about on that page? Is
Mm-hmm.
what we want to do is have all that.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we don't have a mission statement.
No,
No. Okay.
that's something we should work on. I hate to write things and then edit by committee. That's just an absolute asking for trouble. Let's just put it that way. However, that said, it would be good for all of us to have input into what that is. I don't know if we want to send, I'm assuming it would be to me since I'm chair. Doesn't have to be, but Our thoughts on what should be in the statement. You know, who we're serving, why we're doing it, and the end result, you know. Every neighborhood in Akron will have a healthy, appropriate tree planted to the benefit of, you know, that neighborhood in the larger city. Yeah, something like that.
That sounds good.
Can we all send, like I said, too bad we don't have somebody, I'm being sarcastic, somebody who knows how to write well on our committee.
Surely, yes. Yeah.
But
I would welcome input.
Yeah.
I do have a facility with words. What can I say? But I would welcome that. I think you all have my email address. So if you have thoughts, please send them on. And what I will do is, using your ideas, put something together and then share it with all of you so that we will have seen it by the next meeting. And we could approve our mission statement so that as our page comes, that can be like right at the top of the page.
Is there a symbol that you're going to put, or some type of tree, or I don't know? I mean, is there a certain symbol when you say tree commission that should be a part of that as well, or I don't know?
You know what? I didn't even think about that, but it would be nice for us to develop a logo. Here's a question. Is there a graphics department in the city government anymore, or is that all outsourced now? Anybody know?
We could, I don't know. I know that our friends in recreation, they have some creative folk, and that they, you know, that a lot of times they do their own in-house, I think. If I'm, Jim, is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, I was going to say, you know, I'm going to look into with Mr. Luddle as far as the website and what we can and cannot do on the city website. So before we get too involved in doing this, let's see what we are allowed to do.
Okay.
I have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is in or out, but is there, I mean, I know we want a symbol, we want a unique one. Is there a way to do some type of, since we are community oriented and we want the input of the community, is it any way to do some type of contest or something to say, when you think of the tree or tree commission, what do you think of? And get some symbols from the community or symbols from some children, or, you know what I'm saying? I know I work in school, so we do a lot of, you know, different things. So whatever, Jim, if you can get, you know, the appropriate protocol and it's okay, maybe we can do some type of, during the Parks Day or maybe Arbor Day, do some type of, you know, some type of spiel about, you know, we'd like you to, you know, what do you think of trees, or what do you think? And maybe do something like that to have the input from the community.
Okay. I will add it.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll wait for the A-OK from Jim. And then, okay, so if we wanted to do that, you know, I think it would be great to, what grade has usually done Arbor Day in the past? Is it fourth grade, third grade? Does anybody remember?
Pretty sure it was the third grade.
Okay. So that would be a logical target. And, you know, I love, because kids that age are still enthusiastic about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they haven't been warped yet. So then once we get the go ahead from Jim, Patricia, I'd like to work through you to get, and I'll write up something, but to send an invitation to the third grade students.
Okay, that's perfect. I can get that taken care of.
Fabulous. And I'll find out who I need to contact in the parochial schools, because we need to include everybody. I mean, not everybody's going to want to jump in, but And so we can work on that. The thing is, I think we're running out of time for Arbor Day. Maybe not. No, we would have March meeting and April meeting. So if we could maybe run the contest between our March meeting and our April meeting.
So we'll start at when, March?
Our next meeting would be March 15th, I believe.
March 15th through April the 15th?
April, whatever the 3rd.
I'm sorry.
I'm looking to see. Okay, February, March. Okay, the 3rd Tuesday is the 12th.
Okay.
So then, yeah, we would have 2 full weeks.
What do you want? 1 3rd grade? You want the whole 3rd grade? APS, what exactly do you want? I know I can get it definitely. I work at Mason and I have a good relationship with the principals and things. So I can get definitely our 3rd grade in. So I don't know how you want all the 3rd graders, or because I know that probably would have to be ran through someone else. So
Yeah. I think it would need to be all the 3rd graders. That's how we've done it in the past.
okay, so I'm going to see who, because I know you got to get it approved by someone. I'm gonna see who
Right.
that is, and then I can get the letter to them if you can get me the letter.
Okay.
I'll check with them to see. I'll run it by my principal and see what's the protocol for that.
Okay, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Okay, boy, we're getting a full agenda already, let alone Coburn Street. So just looping back to that for a minute, I'm going to count on each of us going out there and taking a look at the street so that then when we come back, we can have some idea what we want to recommend rather than try and schedule a time we can all go. All right. Is Sharon going to make it soon?
Let me check. She didn't respond, so we'll have to wait for that. Sorry, that.
Okay.
Yeah, she didn't respond, so she must be tied up.
Okay.
Would like to let all commission members know that letters will be going out here in another 2 weeks for this spring planting.
Okay.
And I'm kind of asking what kind of language should I put in there for appeal if you don't want a street tree?
Okay.
Probably would need to work with Mr. York on that. I would submit, just to make sure, leak from the legal side.
Okay, I'll contact John and see what his thoughts are on that. And then I'll get in touch with you, Michelle, as to putting this all together and get these letters out.
Hey, John, all
Okay.
the planning you did over there off of Thornton, Russell,
Yes,
did they all get letters, all the homeowners there?
not on, no, I quite frankly, I just ran out of time to get stuff out by the time we needed to plant.
So we planted those.
Correct.
Okay.
And the locations were marked at least 2 weeks in advance.
Okay.
So I had received a lot of phone calls like I do annually, and most people were understanding. And once you talk to them, explain the situation, what was going on, and they didn't have a problem with it. Coburn Street was the exception.
Okay.
So how is it exactly, how do we inform folks exactly in terms of, like, letters go out, right?
Yeah, here, I'm going to share my screen here. This is just a sample of what goes out. And basically, it's to let them know this is what we're receiving. You're receiving a tree. You know, we spell out, what the parameters are that we looked at, some of the guidelines, give some of the benefits. At the very end here, I like to spell out, what our street tree population is worth. You know,
Okay,
that you can see this is 19. I have new numbers in here. We're right around $57 million. Based on the last update we had.
okay,
And so, and even I go back to the street tree policy that we have, that empty planting sites are publicly owned and should be planted with professionally selected varieties of trees.
okay, that looks good, sounds good.
But I'll work with John on what specific language I need to put in here in regards to the appeal process, and we'll just add that into it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
if I could, once you get a draft, can you just pass it by or can send it out to us, John? Is that okay?
Sure thing. Sure thing.
And just give us like a couple days.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because this spring, we plan on doing roughly 1,000, and then we'll pick up the remainder in the fall. So that's the game plan as of now.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Okay. Anything else that we need to consider today? Okay. Great work, everybody. I think we got a lot done today. So I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, wait a minute. Is Sharon going to come on?
No, she hasn't responded to my text, so but
Okay.
thank you. So we'll hopefully catch up with her next time.
Okay. Again, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Hello.
adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
we are adjourned at 1:35 p.m. Thank you all.
Have a
Thank
good day.
you. You guys have a good evening.